Welcome to the Unmistakably Magic Podcast. I'm RJ.
And I'm Court.
We are two lifelong fans of Disney parks and all theme parks.
Each week, we bring you the latest news from Disney parks and beyond.
Plus, this week we'll be talking about the 3 big openings and which one has the most to prove.
So in case you've been living under a rock for the past, year?
Yeah. And especially this week. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, for sure this week. There were 3 major openings in the theme park industry, and that was Volcano Bay over at Universal Orlando, Pandora over at Animal Kingdom in Walt Disney World, and Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout over at California Adventure at Disneyland in California.
Yeah.
So we're going to be debating a little bit about which one we think has the most to prove, but first we're going to kick it off with some news.
It's episode 45. Stick around for the news.
Well, visitors to Branson, Missouri now have the opportunity to search for Bigfoot in the new Bigfoot Discovery Expedition attraction at the Bigfoot on the Strip park. I did not know this park even existed. Even if no Bigfoot sightings occur, the tour of the Ozarks is still stunning. The park also offers Bigfoot-themed arcades and mini golf, as well as a 200-foot-tall drop tower and an 8D interactive theater.
Interesting. I didn't know this was just because at Branson I thought we were going to about Silver Dollar City.
Nope.
Hey, weird.
It's kind of interesting.
Did you look it up?
I did.
I'll have to look it up later.
It's not super expensive. It's kind of like Heritage Square up here.
Okay.
So it's kind of like
Which is now closed, but yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's a bummer. That is theme park history.
I know.
Shoot, you should do a tribute to them. The theme park that nobody really wanted or cared about.
Yeah. And thusly closed. Yeah.
Yes. But it's the same kind of setup of you pay per attraction, pay per ride.
Okay. And kind
so
of
it's not
carnival type rides. Kind of the roadside attractions. Kind of like North Pole or some of the other ones we've talked about.
Yeah. Well, Springs Street Eats Food Truck Rally is coming to Disney Springs next month. The event will include live entertainment as well as 8 different food trucks, including Fantasy Fair, World Showcase of Flavors, Caketeer, Philly's Best Cheesesteaks, 900 Degrees Pizza, Magic for Your Plate, the London Fish and Chippy, and Tiki's Shaved Ice. The event will take place on Friday, June 2nd from 4 to 11 p.m. and again on Saturday, June 3rd from noon to 11 p.m. And the trucks will be parked on the west side in front of Cirque du Soleil.
Are all of them Disney owned? Because some of those names are very clearly Disney.
Fantasy Fair and World Showcase of Flavors are Disney owned.
But a lot of the other ones are actual
Outside
food trucks.
ones.
So that's kind of cool.
And maybe Tiki's.
I was wondering Magic for Your Plate too.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they're just either renaming them temporarily for that, or they're Disney owned, or they're actually called that.
It's such a thing right now, food trucks.
It's crazy. I thought it's been such a thing for so long too.
Well, and some of the neighborhoods around here now have like certain nights where they bring in a whole bunch or whatever too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, maybe I should start neighborhood hopping
Food trucking it
instead of brewery hopping.
Yeah.
Food is way better than beer. Well, Cabana Bay has added about 200 new rooms with the opening of the Beachside Tower. The new tower overlooks Volcano Bay and offers 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom suites alongside standard rooms, all themed to the 50s, as the rest of the hotel is themed.
Like.
Rates range from $200 to $500 per night and can be booked online at the Universal Orlando Resort website. Bayside Tower, which is the second tower, will open later this year and will add an additional 200 rooms to bring the grand total to 400 rooms being added.
Wow.
I think totally there's like 1,200 rooms or something like that.
It was a decent sized resort to begin with, and then adding a couple 200 room towers is kind of...
It's ridiculous. It's crazy. But this is all to kind of alleviate or provide extra room for Volcano Bay. Beachside opened alongside Volcano Bay.
Oh, okay.
It opened just before Volcano Bay, so a little fun for you there.
Yeah.
A little additional spot to stay. From June 14th through September 3rd, Hong Kong Disneyland will host the Marvel Superhero Summer, which will give guests the opportunity to join Black Widow, Thor, Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, and Hawkeye for an interactive Avengers mission set in Hong Kong that will take place inside the pavilion in Adventureland. Guests can also meet Spider-Man, Captain America, and Iron Man, and Hong Kong Disneyland is offering a special student summer pass for 759 Hong Kong dollars, which converts to 97 US dollars.
What?
That offers unlimited visits, a 10% discount on merch, and a personalized Shield ID. The pass is only available for students who are Hong Kong residents aged 3 through 25 with a valid student ID and can be used through August 14th.
Nice. It's a good deal.
I wish some of the parks out here would do that.
Yeah, they won't because they don't need to.
No.
They don't need to bring any more people in during the
There's
summer.
no need at all.
Yeah.
Which kind of surprises me that Hong Kong, that's one of the most populated cities in the world.
Yeah, it's true.
They need to kind of incentivize students coming to Disneyland.
Do they have a summer break?
I assume they do.
I assume they do too, but maybe they don't. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, more details about Summer Nights 2017 over at Busch Gardens Tampa have been revealed. The new ice show, Turn It Up, actually opened yesterday.
Turn it up!
Turn it up!
Turn it up!
Opened yesterday, Friday, May 26th. And 3 new party zones have been revealed. Fiesta Fiesta takes over Cheetah Hunt Plaza and brings an immersive Latin experience. Luau brings in a Hawaiian-inspired experience to Pantopia, and Vibin' Village takes guests to Africa within Stanleyville. And a Summer Nights sampler lanyard can be purchased for $34.99 and includes 8 samples of food throughout the park. Summer Nights is included with park admission and runs from June 16th through August 6th.
I want to go to the siesta zone. That's what I want to do.
The nap zone?
Yeah. Forget party.
Take a nap.
Nap.
I'm sure if some theme park actually opened up like a designated napping area,
I'd be all about it.
People would go crazy.
I'd be all about it. Especially some of these longer like Disney World trips, man. Oh.
I'm chit-chatting with my buddy about it on Monday, and right now the plan is 2 weeks of total gone time 2 weeks of total time in Orlando.
Sheesh.
Doing 3 days at Universal.
You're gonna need siesta zone.
Yeah. Probably by day 9.
Not even. By day 5, we'll be like, all right, we're staying in today. We're napping.
It's time to nap.
Put the do not disturb sign on the room. We're going to bed.
I feel like we're going to be making a lot of afternoon Fast Pass reservations.
That's
not
probably
get
good,
those morning ones and then, do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think the plan right now is to go to Volcano Bay, check out all 3 parks now.
Oh, instead of just the
2.
Okay.
Do first water park in Orlando for me. Definitely first water park in Orlando for him.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think we'll get into this later, but I think that would be a solid water park to start out with.
Oh, definitely.
In Orlando.
Yeah, definitely. From what we've seen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a rather short news week this week.
Extra time for the main topic tonight.
A lot of time for the main topic tonight. Well, stick around.
Stick around. We'll be talking about the 3 big openings and which one has the most to prove.
Find out.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're talking about the 3 big openings this week. Which one of them, obviously, at Universal Studios?
Yes, at Universal Orlando Resort. Which now, I think it is a full resort.
That is a good point.
Because one of them, the big, huge opening that a lot of people were super stoked for, is Volcano Bay.
It is kind of funny. We kind of have a different scale here. We have a whole new park,
yeah,
a whole land, and then a single attraction.
That's true. We do have pretty much the triad of openings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The only other thing would be like a hotel. Wedge it somewhere in between the land and the
Cabana Bay beachside.
Yeah, there you go. No, like a whole new hotel.
Oh, okay. like the Aventura Hotel that's opening up
Sure.
over in Universal
There we go.
sometime, whenever, who knows when. Well, we do, like we said earlier, there are 3 major openings this week.
And it happened, what?
2 days.
2 days, yeah.
Yes. So we'll just run through them real quick. Volcano Bay Water Theme Park.
Yep.
Over at Universal Orlando opened up on the 25th of May,
Okay,
2017. Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, which replaced Tower of Terror over in Hollywoodland.
In California Adventure.
Disney California Adventure at the Disneyland Resort in California opened today, May 27th, 2017. And, of course, Pandora, the World of Avatar, opened up in Animal Kingdom, Disney's Animal Kingdom, over at the Walt Disney World Resort today as well, May 27th, 2017.
Working those bloggers and...
Yeah. Actually, do you follow Joe Rohde at all?
No.
He was an integral part in Pandora, obviously.
Yeah.
And in Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
Really? Both?
Yeah, he was
Wow,
he was
that's a lot for
both.
him.
So he was there for the opening, the grand official public opening of Guardians. And then he flew to Orlando in the same day, today, to go hang out with guests for the opening of Pandora.
Wow.
That's
got to be rough.
that's a busy guy.
I wonder what private jet he got to use.
He didn't. He flew, I think it was Delta or American. But he just posted on his Twitter, he's like, 2 openings in one day, flying from LAX to MCO.
Yeah, so 3 big openings this week, which is a lot in this industry
It's a
right
ton.
now. And I think all 3 have something to prove.
Yes,
And we thought
all
it'd
3.
be fun to debate. And Wade, our good friend Wade, brought this topic up in the after show last week, and we were like, whoa, let's talk about that as a whole episode. So shout out to Wade, our boy Wade, giving us a really good idea.
Shout out your boy.
Because seriously, as I thought about it, I'm like, I think they all 3 have a lot to prove. And so we thought it'd be kind of interesting to debate and bring up what they kind of have to prove, and then maybe kind of make our pick and further debate.
Maybe.
As to which...
as to which one has the most to prove.
Yeah.
So, do you want to just run down the list of everything that we think they have to prove?
Absolutely.
And this isn't just over this week. This isn't just over today. This is over...
This is their lifetime, really. Yeah, to a certain extent.
Their lifetime. I would even say I'd minimize that a little bit to the next 3 to 5 years, probably.
Or the next openings on some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to jump in with Volcano Bay first?
Yes, I think the first thing is it's Universal's first step into the water park game. Now, granted, they owned Wet n Wild, which they closed to kind of make way for Volcano Bay.
It wasn't really to make way for Volcano Bay, like land-wise. It wasn't to make way for.
As much as to not have another water park competing in Orlando.
Yeah, another major water park competing. That's actually where Aventura Hotel is going.
So they are using the land for something.
They're using the
not
land
using
for
it directly.
a massive hotel.
They're not using it directly for Volcano Bay.
No, they're not.
So it's their first step into the water park game. And I think what they did different than, like, say, Disney, who has 2 water parks on site on their resort in Florida, was they pitched it as a third gate, as an actual theme park, not just a water park, not a kind of a side attraction, but an actual
full day theme park.
And they even, I think their language was water theme park. So it's a
Yes.
theme park with water. It wasn't, instead of just a water park, it's a water theme park.
Yeah, and they were really pushing that. That's how they were advertising it up until opening, and that's how I would say a lot of people are receiving it.
That is definitely
as a water theme park.
Looking at reviews and watching videos and things, it definitely stands out from the typical water park.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, with the theming and with the amount of rides and some of the rides that are there and some of the other systems in play, and we'll get to kind of one of those. But
the part that I think the biggest part that it has to prove is, does it stand up to a water theme park? A theme park.
Yes. Would you consider it on the same level of any other theme park?
Even on their own other properties?
Yeah.
Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios.
Would you put it in the same class as those?
Yes. So I think that is first and foremost the largest thing that it has to prove.
And I think that's one of those things we're going to see over time. It either proving that or falling a little short of that, and I think it's a little hard now because it's new and exciting.
Yes.
So does it hold up the way a theme park does to more visits,
repeated
visits?
Are there rides that are re-rideable for new experiences?
Or is it kind of one and done and you go, okay, I've experienced it?
Okay.
Which to me doesn't take it to that theme park level.
Yeah.
And
which is where you can argue that Disney's water parks, or even most water parks in general,
exactly.
If you go once, you've done the majority of it, or all of it. And then the next time that you go is when they open up 3 or 4 new attractions.
Exactly. Or because it's hot and you just want to go to a water park.
Yeah, like it is here. Slowly getting there here.
Yeah.
I think it might be a good time to go to Waterworld this weekend.
Nobody's gonna
It is opening weekend.
That is true.
But it's rainy.
Nobody's going to be there. Bring your wetsuit. Because it's going to be cold, too.
Your seal skin.
Yeah.
Well, it also has some other... Volcano Bay also has some other things to prove. First off, it was very quickly built.
Which,
I mean,
Universal's kind of now been... Yeah, we covered
the announcement of it on
we've
episode
been
1 or 2.
We're episode 45, so we're less than a year in here, folks, and we're already at the opening of something we announced. So that's insane to think about.
It's incredible. That is like faster than when Walt Disney built Disneyland.
But that also, I think Universal does quick openings well, but you also run the risk that they cut some corners. Not like safety-wise or anything, but just
like quality-wise.
Quality-wise, or they're like, oh, I wish it had this, or I wish it had that, or are there things they're going to have to figure out over the next couple of years that would have otherwise been solved in a longer build process?
Which I have already heard one complaint with Tapu Tapu, which is another thing that it has to prove.
Yeah, which is their queueless queue and payment system and this whole interactive...
The wallet-free, phone-free system.
Yeah, for the water park.
For a water park. One of the complaints that I've heard initially with Tapu Tapu is you can't reserve a ride and then go out to your hotel and then come back and ride that. Because they give everybody a Tapu Tapu when they first come in, and then you have to return it when you exit.
Oh.
But
and it's literally tied to that Tapu Tapu,
yes,
not to you.
Yes. So then when you come in, you get a fresh, reset Tapu Tapu.
So you literally cannot leave the park
with your Tapu Tapu.
With your Tapu.
Yet. There is talk going around saying that will be fixed later on. But again, is that attributed to this rushed opening or this very quick or this very short time scale?
Which you could say there were some learning pains like that with initial My Magic Plus and the Magic Bands and things like that. So
yeah,
I won't discredit it yet, but I will say that Tapu Tapu was one of those things that stood out as something they're going to have to prove works, and that is a major bug to me that you can't leave the park because Magic Band, you can go to any park you want, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, and you can come back and you're not losing your Fast Pass reservations or anything, which is essentially what's happening when you reserve a time and then leave the park and you're losing your Fast Pass. That's essentially
kind of not good.
And another thing that I noticed is not every ride has Tapu Tapu.
I did notice that too, yeah.
They kept that kind of quiet.
Because originally they made it sound very much like every ride, everything was going to be Tapu Tapu, no queue, and you'll just get notified when it's your time to ride.
Which makes sense with the lazy rivers, because there are 2 lazy rivers. Well, one's less lazy and more kind of thrilling.
Yeah, what do they call it? They had some funny name for that.
They have
not
great
lazy
names
river. It was like something else. Like
they have great names for every attraction.
Not so thrilling river or something like that.
But I mean, it makes sense for those attractions. It makes sense for the wave pool that you don't have to wait to jump in a wave pool.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. But I agree. There was a couple of the slides or whatever that I was like, oh.
And I am curious.
It doesn't have Tapu Tapu.
But at the same time, those are probably very high capacity slides. Like, it makes sense for Krakatoa, which is the water coaster.
Yes.
Super slow loading. Like, have you been to Waterworld since they opened up the Mile High Flyer?
No.
It's pretty cool.
Even Journey to Center Earth or whatever, it takes forever.
There's forever.
Yeah, any of those rides where you have to wait for tube or you have to wait for slides are much like, hey, it's clear, go. Hey, it's clear, go. We've all been to the rec center. We all know that it's just hey, that kid's out, okay, now you're next.
You're in, keep going. So Tapu Tapu, I mean, it is kind of like old school Fast Pass. It's not Fast Pass Plus. It's old school Fast Pass where it's for the major attractions, the ones that are going to have a long line regardless. And I did also notice that, I think it was BioReconstruct posted on Twitter. He's like, so there's a 200-minute wait for these water slides. However, standby queue looks like it's a walk-on. So I want to know if it has Tapu Tapu, is there also a standby queue for it? Because I haven't seen anything that has been explicit about that. So
interesting.
Again, the whole queueless queue system. Will it work?
As we debated when we kind of talked about this in the past,
forever ago, a while ago. But yeah, I mean, will it work? Is it a viable option? Will it work in a theme park? We know it theoretically would work a lot better in a water park.
Yes, and then because we've talked before, water park you always have something to do.
Yeah,
because if you just are hanging in the wave pool or sunbathing or whatever, you're still doing something where you're not going to be. You can't do that in a normal theme park. There's not time killers in a theme park.
Not as accepted time killers.
Yeah. You're not going to be laying down on the sidewalk going like, I'm sunbathing now, people. Get out of my way. No shade, please.
This is me now. I am here. So then do you want to jump into the next largest thing?
Sure, yeah.
Pandora.
So we'll kind of go down in scale here.
Yeah.
So Pandora, the world of Avatar.
Well, here, we're going to come back to Volcano Bay. We're going to come back and just kind of pick an overall thing that we're going to, because there is still a bit more to talk about.
Yeah, and there's still our debate to be had.
Yes.
So
Pandora, the world of Avatar. Avatar.
So it's a 2-attraction land added on to Disney's Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World.
Yes.
With, other, obviously restaurants and...
Isn't there only one restaurant? There's one restaurant. There's Satuli Canteen.
I think you're right, yeah.
And then one kind of shop. Or one major shop.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So
not a huge land.
Well, it takes up a lot of space.
It takes a lot of space, but not in terms of like having multiple restaurants or other stands and stuff.
No, it's not like Star Wars Land where there's guaranteed 2 restaurants. There's already been announced 2 restaurants, and there's already been announced 2 attractions, and there's already plans for a future expansion that a lot of people are speculating about and stuff like that. But it is still a major expansion.
Yes, definitely.
For Animal Kingdom, because one of the main kind of initial plans for Animal Kingdom was to have the mythical, and this kind of takes care of that mythical stuff.
Had the dragon in it.
Their logo still has dragons in it and all that stuff. So this is the mythical kind of kingdom area of Animal Kingdom, which it took them long enough to do it.
Yeah,
stinking 19 years now,
something like that. Yeah.
I think it opened up the same year that
it was 99.
I think it was 90. Was it 99?
99 or
98?
99? Yeah.
I know they broke ground when I was born. That same year. So, but Pandora, it still has a lot to prove.
Yes.
I think. But why does it have stuff to prove?
So the big ones to me that stand out are nobody was asking for this. Now, granted, maybe in 2009 when the movie came out,
everybody wanted
it.
Back in like 2014 or something when it was announced?
Maybe would have been a little bit, yeah. So we're talking 5-year announcement, and now 3 years after that, an opening. So we're talking 8 years after the movie came out.
Nobody wanted it.
And yeah. So that's one thing.
Just flat out. Nobody really in the theme park community, in the Disney theme park community was like, yeah, let's put Pandora.
And we might come back to this,
Avatar,
but I was talking to some friends that aren't that into the theme park as obviously as I am, since I have a podcast. But they were saying, one of them was like, Pandora, like the movie from 2009 or whatever,
forever ago.
Yes, I know. They were like, really? And so I think that comes in the second point, which was it potentially pushed Star Wars Land opening out,
which I kind of disagree with.
That and maybe we can debate that.
A little bit.
I think maybe that puts a big thing on Disney's plate that they had to finish before they could take a second course. Is my only point with that.
That's true, but I'll get into it.
And like we've already touched on, they took their sweet time with this.
Where Volcano Bay was very
announced
quickly
and built in less than a year.
Within a year, yeah.
And we're talking now, what?
8-ish, 5 years.
5 years of
ish
work.
Wasn't it announced at like D23 2012 12,
Was it?
13, something like that.
And then they broke ground like 14. Yes, I
They
mean,
broke ground like a year after that.
So we're talking a
and-
long time,
Yes.
and even on Disney's timeline, a long time. And even though it didn't, we'll kind of get to this later, but it replaced something. I'm not as heartbroken over what it replaced because it replaced Camp Mini Mickey.
And technically, the original spot of the Lion King show, although the new spot, the new theater,
Is
way
awesome.
better.
Yeah.
That new themed area,
So you can't
fantastic.
even really tell. It's almost like they just made an improvement on the Lion King theater.
Yeah, really. I think they expanded the seating in it as well and
Yeah.
stuff, and just made it
So,
more accessible.
Compared to one of the other things we're going to talk about here in a second, it replaced something, but nobody was really heartbroken over it. But it still replaced something. So it still has something to prove that it's worthy.
It's
of
better
that
than what
spot.
it replaced, which
Easily it is off the bat.
easily just because of the floating mountains.
Yeah. Done. That part of it's, there's no debate there, so we won't even come back to
There's
that.
nothing that it needs to prove with that.
And I think the last point is also Star Wars Land. I think it's kind of a preview for Star Wars Land. We're kind of seeing an alien world brought to life in our world for the first time as a whole land. We've gotten snippets of that on attractions or within kind of lands occasionally, but not an entire land like this. So it's a little bit of a preview.
This is the first large-scale alien land.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue Cars Land was like kind of an alien land, or
'Cause
like
it's not really,
Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley, but those are
Those
still,
are movie based and still Earth based.
they're still based in in our reality.
Because like floating mountains, they had to figure out how to do that. And
Yeah.
granted, I don't think Star Wars has any floating mountains, or at least we haven't heard yet.
That'd be incredible.
But it just tells you to me, it tells that there's kind of a preview to Star Wars Land. Plus, it's Disney's newest land, so you kind of get to see where they are tech wise or where they are attraction wise.
Where they are in their foresight of crowds, where they
Yes.
are in the foresight of landscaping,
Yeah,
where they are in their nighttime entertainment area.
Yeah.
All of their kind of this is where we're at right now that we're able to reveal.
so where are we going to be in 2 years?
Or this is where we were at back 3 years ago
That's the
when
other
we were
thing.
planning
Yeah.
this thing.
So,
So, yeah. Well, then, do you want to jump into Guardians, or do you have anything else to...
that was it.
Kinda
Because
had on
maybe
head.
we'll talk about it in a minute.
Well, Guardians, the first and foremost reason why it has something to prove is it replaced an incredibly popular attraction.
Yes.
And here on opening day, it did have, I think the highest wait time that I saw was 180 minutes,
Which is
which is 3 hours, which is reasonable.
It's a long time.
It's a long time to wait, but Tower of Terror constantly brought in that wait time. Tower of Terror was rarely under 45 minutes. If it was a 30-minute wait, you jumped in that line and waited because
Yeah,
that
it
is
was worth it,
stellar.
yeah.
I actually remember the first time I rode Tower of Terror. We went over to grab some fast passes, and it was just me, my dad, and my older brother. And we had everybody's ticket, and we went to grab fast passes for everybody, and it was a 25-minute wait. My dad's like, "It's only 25 minutes. Let's go. Why not? Let's jump right in." And we didn't end up grabbing fast passes. My sister was kind of pissed. But we keep that on the DL. And another big thing that it has to prove is, while it isn't the first Marvel attraction that Disney has brought to its parks globally, it is the first Marvel attraction in the U.S.
Ride, I would say attraction, because Disney uses that term
That's
very
true.
loosely.
Well, it's not like a meet and greet.
Exactly, it's a ride.
The first ride.
Ride
Okay, yes.
is kind of a mean. It's not a term a lot of parks like to use. But yeah, I agree. I agree that this is the first major attraction.
But you could argue that Universal brought Marvel into the theme parks with their Marvel Island, Marvel Superhero Island. However, that is old school Marvel. This is new school.
Yeah,
This is very based in the real, perceived real.
theirs is more.
There's just more cartoony.
This is more live action.
comic
This is the
stuff.
live action movies. Theirs is more
comic.
like straight from the comics or the
Yeah.
cartoons, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah, so this is the real first major jump in the attraction world, or in the ride realm
in the
US. And another kind of big thing that it has to prove is that when it comes down to it, it's no different than Hyperspace Mountain. It's just a layover. It can be removed.
Yeah.
The ride system is still the same. So what it needs to do is it needs to tell a better, more compelling story than Tower of Terror did, which
Yeah.
is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
Because that was like the benchmark for great storytelling up until like Potter.
True.
So, and I mean, another thing that it kind of needs to prove is that it's worthy of being there. Nobody asked for Guardians of the Galaxy
to replace
an attraction.
Yeah. Or even Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think I ever heard anybody really say,
No.
hey, we need a Guardians of the Galaxy.
You know what would be a cool attraction
Yeah.
is Guardians of the Galaxy.
You didn't hear that beforehand.
Nobody was saying that. Nobody was like, yeah, it's kind of the same thing with Pandora. Like, okay, that's cool, but I don't really want that. I'm not like asking for
Yeah.
it. Like, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Give me Tron. Come on.
Well, we know where you stand.
We're
on this
asking
issue,
for
yes.
Tron.
We know where you are on any new attraction. Is it Tron? No, don't care.
Who cares?
I wasn't asking for it.
Which I did see. While I was kind of looking up like information on these attractions, how they're doing, or on
Yeah.
Guardians specifically. The Energy Pavilion over in Epcot is looking at getting a massive expansion. Like, the total square footage within this expansion is going to be like over 1 million square feet of space, of usable space within a new building that they're building up back behind the Wonders of Life, which is the music that we're listening to right now. Old school. I was going to do Horizons music, but that's way too much singing and it's way too inspiring for what we're talking about.
Kind of chill. It's almost a little too chill.
It's a little more mellow.
We're debating.
It's nice thinking music, you know? I would
So what was
study
your point
this.
with the 1 million square foot thing?
I'm just saying it's absolutely massive. And the rumor is that Disney is working with, or talking with Comcast, NBC Comcast,
Trying
or
to get some
Comcast
of their people
Universal.
back.
Just to say like, hey, can we bring Guardians over here? Because it's not technically a major Marvel thing, or it wasn't technically until we made it one. So Guardians might be coming over there and replacing that, or some
Interesting,
experiences coming over there, which it's rumored to be a roller coaster, which that makes way more sense to me than
Than
a
a
drop
drop,
ride.
So, of the three, in your mind, which one has the most to prove?
Are you asking me or are you asking our listeners?
Well, we could put it out there to them too, but I'm asking you right now.
In my mind right now, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
So besides the points we already talked about, what or of those, what stands out the most to you that says that has the most to prove?
Well, I think there's really two. The first one is it replaced an extremely popular attraction. Like I said before, Tower of Terror constantly brought 3-hour wait times, which was the maximum that I saw. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure it peaked over 200 minutes.
I'm sure probably at some point, yeah.
At some point it probably did, but rarely did Tower of Terror not have an hour-long wait. Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah, it'll probably consistently keep around an hour. I could see it more around 45 minutes.
Okay.
And Tower of Terror, I mean, on like a fairly crowded day, even if the park was like at a 70% capacity, Tower of Terror would bring in a 180-minute wait.
Okay.
And people would wait in that line, and people would be like, oh, it's 180 minutes. Yeah, I'll do that. Why not?
No, I think it's valid.
And the other thing is it's the first jump into the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe for Disney in the U.S. So it has to prove to a lot of people that, yeah, this rumored Marvel land that we're building over in this area, because, I mean, it has been confirmed that this is the first step of towards Marvel
yeah.
in that area. And probably if it's successful, bring it over to Disney World if they can figure out
finagle
these
the deals, yeah.
if they can figure out these contracts. But this has to prove to people that yes, it is worth it to bring Marvel into the theme parks. It is worth it to bring Marvel into existing attractions.
So I'm going to agree with one of your things you just said, and I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
I'm going to use your own words against you in my disagreement here.
Man.
Because you yourself admitted that the better Tower of Terror is the original, which is still running.
Yes, it is.
In Florida at Walt Disney World and Hollywood Studios.
And I'm not denying that. I'm just saying it replaced an extremely popular attraction.
So I'm not disagreeing with that. I totally see that. I think that's a valid point. I would say, though, that just saying that Tower of Terror, the better one, is in
Hollywood
Studios in
Yes.
Florida.
Yes.
So you still can't have the experience if you need it, you know.
Or you could fly to Paris if you want and have the exact same experience,
Literally
but in French.
Yeah. Oh,
The Tower of Terror.
the Tower of Terror terrorize you. I will agree then with you that it has a lot to prove being the first jump into Marvel, because the fact that it's an old attraction with a layover, kind of what we talked about previously,
Yep.
I think may hurt that in a way, because rather than building something fitted for Guardians of the Galaxy, some really cool ride or some really neat thing, you're trying to adapt a ride system that was designed for something else. And the community especially is going to know that because they've ridden it as something else. And now you're bringing it, and they're going, oh, this is that part where you come up to the room and there was the hallway and then you saw them and their lightning struck and it went dark and you dropped.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, we came. Oh, look, it's a hallway. Weird, but it's full of like buttons, or you know, like. I mean, you probably watched the onboard.
I have. I've seen 2 of the onboard ones. I hate myself for doing it because I know I'm going to go visit.
I wanted to go in cold into Pandora, so I've been trying not to watch as much of Pandora, but
I haven't seen like the queue in detail or anything. I haven't seen like the pre-show in detail.
See, I watched
or
a lot more
so
of the, so I'll try not to spoil anything too much. But
I know
being
generally
you,
what
you're
it
also going to go, oh, this is that part, okay, and then you're going to, oh, hey, oh, that's that part.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it has to prove that it is a very it's a compelling story beyond just more of that build up that Tower of Terror has, because this one goes pretty much right off the bat. You're going up and down very quickly.
Instead of a little build up into like
instead of a huge build up of when's it gonna go, which I think I'm gonna miss that, especially the After Dark stuff, because that was so incredible. I have never been surprised more in my life of when anything's gonna happen.
You literally couldn't tell where you were in the system. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, when's it gonna? Is it broken? What's Oh wow, we just fell. Yeah. No. So I think it has to replace, or it has to. The biggest thing that it has to prove is that it is a compelling story, more so than Tower. Not necessarily more so, if not equal to what Tower told.
Yes.
Which I have heard that the queue and the pre-show do outshine the actual attraction itself, the actual ride part. But it does still look extremely fun.
It does.
It's
still a fun
very
ride
thrilling.
system, you know. So it's not like you lost that right.
Yeah.
It's not like they just turned it into a normal elevator, you know, and you're going up and seeing some part of the collection and going up, seeing part of, you know. It's still a very thrilling ride system. So you didn't lose that.
No, you didn't lose that aspect of the Tower of Terror.
Extent, yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, how engaging is it truly going to be? Because I think you could argue that Tower of Terror, when it was built, was the most engaging, because this was like right before all the interactive stuff came out.
Yeah.
It was like the most engaging queue, the most engaging ride.
I'll give it
at the time.
Yeah.
So I think Guardians really has to push it and really has to prove that it's equally, if not more so, engaging with some old school Imagineering without that interactive bit.
Yes.
Through just semi-stationary, semi-moving parts, some audio stuff. And it really, I mean, you can also argue that it needs to kind of expand on the Marvel Universe, or expand with the Marvel Universe.
Yes, definitely.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Is there any rebuttal?
No, I agree. I agree with all that. I just think that one of the other ones has more to prove.
And what do you think?
I think Pandora has the most to prove.
Why do you think that?
I think it's because it's an entire land, and I don't know what the money budget was, but I'm sure it was big numbers. And
I'm sure it was much bigger than Guardians.
Maybe even a B in front of it, in front of the Ilion.
That is,
you know, I'm sure there might have been $1 billion in there somewhere.
So, I'm sure. So just the gamble
whether or not it actually impacted Star Wars Land, either the decision to do Star Wars Land or the future, timeline of it.
See, can I stop you there?
Sure.
Just so, if you look at when Disney acquired Star Wars, when was it? Like 2012?
Yeah, it was not.
It was like right before Pandora was announced.
I know.
Yeah, you could assume that Disney had some plan for Star Wars. I mean, you don't just acquire a whole company like that out of the blue, even though it did blindside like everybody.
Yeah.
You don't just acquire that out of the blue. You have a plan for it. You've been looking at it. You've been in talks with it. So you could argue that Disney had Star Wars Land in its back pocket for quite some time.
I'm sure they may have, even just based on the fact that they already had the rights to the rides and whatnot.
Yeah.
The potential that they were already thinking about it.
But
what I'm saying is, if they're spending $1 billion on a whole land,
that they're not spending $1 billion.
They're not spending
on a different land.
They're not in the 7 years it took them to build, or not. Well,
basically 7.
Whatever. How many every 5 to whatever many years it took them to actually build this thing? They're not putting projects like the potential for Star Wars Land that they probably had in their back pocket
in the forefront.
They're not putting them on the forefront. They're not bringing them onto the table because they already have this big, whopping problem to deal with of building a Pandora.
Okay.
So I'm just saying we potentially could have seen Star Wars Land sooner.
But at the same time, it was announced so closely to the acquisition of Star Wars that.
But I'm saying that in the
wasn't
meantime,
that much time to even finalize plans.
I'm not saying
or do anything.
I'm
like
not
that,
saying it directly, but I'm just saying if Pandora was never going to happen, and they still bought Disney and they still bought Star Wars in 2012 or whatever. Maybe 2015 we started talking, or 13 we started, or 14
talking Star Wars.
Started talking Star Wars.
Wasn't Star Wars Land announced like 2015?
Was it?
I think it was.
And again, then construction resources are not as strained because they're not trying to build an entire land with floating mountains. They can go focus on AT-ATs.
It does seem AT-ATs. It does seem. It does seem like the Disneyland, Star Wars Land is moving on much quicker, which they didn't have anything to demolish over there. It was really just clearing trees and rerouting a river and changing up a
there's a lot more to.
So there's a lot less stuff. Yeah. Yes. So you could go that route of, well, Disneyland is moving quite along, so you could say that Disney World isn't pushing that to the forefront as much, and they're not building 2 lands in Disneyland at the same time.
I think that it's a lot of stretch going on at Disney World right now for construction and materials and money and and focus.
Yeah. Okay. That's I would agree with that.
Yeah. I'm not saying I can directly correlate that or prove that, but I'm just saying that at some point, if Pandora was totally off the table, was never going to happen, maybe we would have seen Star Wars
come up quicker. Yeah. Come up quicker. Be maybe opening next year as opposed to 2 years from now. Okay.
And
what else?
I would say the fact that nobody wants it, and this goes back to what we kind of talked about when we were introducing this, was I was at a party talking to some friends, and they go to Disney World fairly regularly, but they're not like so into it. They don't follow it as much. So I was saying something about, and Pandora will be open by the time we go there and blah, blah. And they're like, Pandora? Like
the blue people?
Like Avatar, the movie? And I was like, yes. And they're like, really? Like they had no idea.
Yeah.
But they know Star Wars Land's happening because they're also Star Wars fans. So, I mean,
you could, I mean, with that one, you could just say that, like, I mean, Star Wars is significantly
and I would say that's a big point too.
Than Pandora.
Pandora is a single movie as of yet because there are other ones in the works or whatever. But as of right now, it was a single movie. It was kind of a one-time hit. I would even argue I was a fan of the movie. I think part of it was the 3D and the CGI. It was a big leap forward in the industry in a way that I don't think it was as much the story. Like I don't remember being like,
visually
this is the
stunning.
best movie ever. I want to see. It was like that was really cool to watch.
Maybe I'll buy it
but
on
the
DVD.
Story was like, hey, that's Ferngully.
Yeah.
It was Ferngully set in space.
Yeah. But to that, though, I would say it was probably the most visually stunning movie up until that point.
Which also lends itself well to a theme park.
Which is the most visually stunning land up until this point. Like, Theme Park Review, I don't want to misquote them, but they're basically saying, suck it, Potter. This is way cooler.
And so I think, again, having something to prove, I think it has the potential to prove it with how well they executed what they set out to do. But I think it had a lot to prove going into it.
Okay. Yes.
Because
nobody
it's
was
a
asking
movie
for
from
it.
2009. It's a single movie. Yes, it did well. It did amazingly well in the theaters, and it was so visually striking. But
So
did it really deserve its own theme park land?
Star Wars was a movie from 1977.
With 3 prequels in the 90s
And
and 2 more in the 70s and 80s.
2 sequels in the 80s.
Yeah.
3 prequels in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And
3
more
unlimited amounts of merchandising and fanboyism, way more than Pandora or Avatar.
Well, okay. So then for the fanboy aspect, I don't know the exact numbers, but my friend's dad actually works as like he kind of basically tells companies what they can do with their current fans that they have.
Okay.
And he was working with, I think it was Fox that owns Pandora, or like
that's
license
weird
it
too,
or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Well, a lot of times when I think Cameron self-financed it, but then you have to like get a distributor to
like,
put it out. So
distribute it.
Fox was the distributor.
So
probably.
I think Fox distributed it or something like
Yeah.
that. But he was saying that he was working with them because they had, and this was back when I was in high school when it like first was announced that Pandora was opening up, and I was like, "Oh, did you hear about Pandora Land?" And he's like, or Avatar Land? And he's like, "No, that's incredible. I have to get on the phone right now and talk with these guys." So he basically tells them like what they can do with their fan base that they currently have. I think he said that on Facebook, in Pandora, on like Avatar the movie, it has like 200 and something million active users on that page.
Yeah.
And this was back in 2014, so 5 years after the movie came out. And he said that they're still steadily very active, and even just on that page, not just within Facebook, they're active on that page. Like, hey, here's some rumor about the new Avatar movie coming out. Here's a rumor about this thing coming out. And so I mean, you could argue that with 200+ million
you have
fanboys,
you have potential.
There's definitely still the fan base for it.
Yeah, but I'm saying compared to Star Wars, though, I don't know what the numbers
billions
are.
of people.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a big difference in my mind.
Yes, it is.
I think timing doesn't help it either. Again, if they announced this in 2010 and we were talking about it opening in 2015, different story.
I actually think that James Cameron was the reason why it took so long,
and
because he had some.
And they even their own YouTube videos indicated that, because they spoke about how exact he wanted it to be.
Everything. Yes.
Which also then makes me think of the money, because if he's doing rewrites and redesigns and everything else, that's money every time. And so again, going back to, and maybe not even just Star Wars Land.
Just anything.
Just anything in the parks. If they're pouring billions of dollars into Avatar and trying to get
the Epcot expansion, the Epcot redo.
Yeah. I mean, all of it. We're potentially talking about a lot of projects put on back burners because of this.
Because of the money side of it. Yes. Okay. I agree with that.
So I think it has a lot to prove as, one, nobody wanted it, or nobody was asking for it directly.
Nobody was actively asking, like, hey,
hey, that's movie in 2009 that yes, a bunch of people are still fans of or like. We really think it should have its own theme park land.
Yeah.
And then 2, Avatar, and then 3, like, the money.
Yes. I think the money is probably the biggest gamble, biggest thing that it has.
Because unlike Guardians, to me, which is just essentially a layover, they did it in months. I mean, we talked about the official announcement and it opened.
Yeah, I visited when it was still Tower of Terror earlier this year.
And the way Disney seems to be with money,
last year,
they're kind of weird, like, with money. They're not like Universal. They're like, we'll build a whole new thing, and we're going to build this thing too, and this
at
thing.
the same time. Yeah. And although right now they're doing that.
I know. Well,
they're doing,
but at first they weren't. At first they weren't, and it very much seemed like Pandora was kind of putting
everything else on the back.
Okay, we're going to cool out for a minute while we figure out Pandora.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I don't know. That was my reason why I think Pandora is the most approved.
Yeah. Well, I agree with it. It is super valid. It is a very valid argument, and I mean,
I think the timing definitely didn't help it, because it's like, again, we're talking about an 8-year-old movie.
But at the same time, even not even that, like, they could have not bought Star Wars until after they announced this.
Yes.
Because at that announcement, everybody was like, "Oh, they're gonna announce Star Wars Land." Like,
because they just bought Star Wars.
They just bought Star Wars. Star Wars Land's got to be coming, or a Star Wars theme park has to be coming.
Which made it that much more disappointing when they were like, and it was like,
and
even then it was a couple-year-old movie, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, but
even if they had like some concept art or something to show off, they literally had nothing. It was literally just
like a name. Yeah,
Pandora, the world of Avatar, is coming to the parks. I don't even think it had a name. It was just Pandora is coming to Animal Kingdom.
The planet from this movie is coming.
Yes, I know. And we're getting rid of Camp Mini Mickey for it. So,
which I'm really sad about.
I miss Mickey and his safari camping gear and his weird house thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird log cabin thing. I don't even know. Yeah.
Well, Wade had a different opinion than both of us.
Which is why it was too bad he couldn't come on this week, but he was traveling. So we miss you, Wade, and
But we're going to discuss that in the after show.
So go over to if you're listening on audio, go over to YouTube, search Unmistakably Magic on YouTube, and it'll be up on the video version of this episode.
Yes. So if you want to hear our thoughts on why we don't think Volcano Bay is the number one, or is the reason, or has the most to prove. I don't know where I was going there.
Wade wants to argue that it has the most to prove. So if you want to hear his reasons and you want to hear our counter debate, tune into the after show.
Without him being here, which is kind of cheating.
Which I think he made some good points, though.
He did make some very good points, yes. So, well, beyond that, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think it's really been an exciting week in the industry. 3 big openings. I think all of them are really good. I think.
Yes. No, this is.
I don't want our debate to say that, like, oh man, I can't believe Pandora. But, like, I'm still really excited to go to Pandora. I'm sure you're really excited to go ride Guardians.
I am thrilled to go ride Guardians sometime this summer. Fingers crossed. Hopefully.
And the potential maybe of going to Volcano Bay at some point.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to. This Volcano Bay added another day to Universal, to my trip that we were talking about, which is
kind of doing its job. Then, yeah.
Absolutely massive. We'll see later on if it's warranted a full day. We'll talk about that a little in the after show. But, it's still, right now, it's adding a full day. And typically, Animal Kingdom for me, not a full day park.
Yeah.
Morning to like mid-afternoon, and then you hop over to Epcot for some fun.
Which this definitely changed that too.
Which Pandora completely changing that. So that we're not saying any of these openings are bad.
No, I think we're excited for all 3. I think, but they all have something to prove, and I think a lot of them are starting to already prove it.
Yeah,
looking at some of the stuff that's out, I'm sure we'll probably revisit this issue as we visit each one over the next.
The ridiculous line to get into Pandora today.
That was crazy,
obscene. I've never seen Animal Kingdom have lines.
If that proved anything, there we go. So,
well, that's it for me.
All right. Thank you for listening to Unmistakably Magic Podcast. Check out our social media at Unmistakably Mag on Twitter, Unmistakably Magic on Instagram, Facebook.com/Unmistakably Magic.
If you want to support the show, we have a little bit of an overhead that we need to meet every month. It's not too bad, but head over to unmistakablymagic.spreadshirt.com.
We'd love to hear from you. Unmistakablymagic@gmail.com. You can email comments, concerns, shout-outs. I wanted to give a shout-out this week, so remind me at the end.
Okay, well, we've got the cue right
I
there.
know, but I would forget. Go over and subscribe to us on YouTube. Like I said, just search Unmistakably Magic on YouTube. Subscribe over there. We have an exclusive after show on the video version,
where we're going to be talking about Volcano Bay, why we think it's the things that we think it has to prove a little more in depth.
Absolutely.
And some of the reasons why we don't think it can do that.
Yeah. We'd appreciate it if you left us a review over on iTunes and subscribed. Share it with your friends, too. Just search Unmistakably Magic. Big thank you to our friend Dylan over at Blast Off Branding for making our awesome logo. Check out our friends at the Unmistakably Star Wars podcast, as I'm sure they have a lot to talk about.
It was just the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, actually.
And May the 4th and all that, too. So.
Yeah. And, actually, today, isn't it? Today is the 40th anniversary of Space Mountain.
Oh, happy birthday, Space Mountain. Speaking of shout-outs.
Yeah.
Shout out to my friend Dan, the guy I was talking to at the party.
Oh,
well,
cool.
It was the other guy was the one who was like, Pandora, and hadn't heard about it. Yeah. But Dan listens regularly. He's left us a review on iTunes, too. So.
Oh, sweet.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
He wants to come on as a guest sometime. We should have him on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey. The more the merrier.
The more the merrier. We got extra mics.
We've got 5 mics now.
Yeah.
We can get a whole party going.
Somebody got me a mic for my birthday, so we got 5 mics now.
We can get a whole gaggle going.
Whole round table discussion. We bring in a round table.
Get a big old table coming on. Well, that just about does it.
All right. Have a magical week.
See you real soon.
And welcome to the after show.
How are you? How you doing?
Thanks for coming over to YouTube to find us.
If you're new here and this is your first time watching us on YouTube, you're in for a little bit of a treat.
Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button.
Hit the little bell.
Yeah, get a little notification.
Get informed of when we upload.
Sometimes we put up other videos, too.
Occasionally, yeah. Which, if you're on our YouTube for the first time, feel free to peruse it.
Peruse away.
If you enjoy our little...
our posters, our shelves,
our setup over here,
all of our memorabilia,
which I just found out today might change a little bit in the future.
Yeah, not too bad.
But you are in for a treat because it is time for
Wade's Word.
Wade's Word. Wade's Word. Wade's Word this week really relates to the topic of this week.
Well, first off, we got to give another shout out to Wade.
Yeah,
this was an awesome topic. I'm glad we didn't use it as a after show Wade's Word because
we went really in depth with it.
This deserved its own show, and I think it was a really good topic, and I'm glad Wade brought it up.
Yeah, I'm really glad he brought it up too, and I'm really glad that you even recognized initially, like, wow, this is a huge question.
Yeah.
There is a lot to talk about here, and it is a very fun topic to talk about.
It is, yeah. It's fun.
So
and fun to have debates, too. So
I definitely enjoyed that, and I'm definitely enjoying this right now.
I know.
Best part of my week. It's not too hard to up my weeks nowadays.
Yeah.
It's just working.
Yeah.
Well, but Wade said, with the 3 openings this week, I definitely thought Universal had the most to prove with Volcano Bay. Between entering into the water park business and Tapu Tapu as a whole, Guardians was somewhat because of replacing a beloved attraction, but worst comes to worst, they could always move it back. That's where the whole layover kind of thing.
Yeah.
That we
I didn't really think about it, but then I was like, it's true. It only took them a couple months to actually do it.
You could just toss it back into Tower of Terror, maybe an upgraded Tower of Terror. That'd be sweet. Get the Tokyo Disney Sea Tower of Terror version.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. That'd be so cool. And he said, with the ridiculous lines today for Pandora, it makes me wonder if the planned layout was not good enough and possibly brings worries about guest traffic issues, especially for Star Wars Land. I do want to say, a lot of people, or I saw a retweet of one person who said, man, if the lines are this bad, imagine what they'll be like for a land that people actually want.
That's true.
For one that's actually good and
but I remember
wanted.
Harry Potter Diagon Alley had this problem too, which
ridiculous.
part of it is the way you come into those lands. And I think Pandora has a similar problem where you kind of come in across a single bridge,
and then it kind of
opens up, but you have a problem of a single funnel.
Yes, but at the same time, it is a very wide bridge. It's not. We're not talking like
No,
Disneyland
Yeah.
tiny bridges. They're massive.
No, and I agree that whoever said that yes, imagine if it's this for. Again, like we said, I don't know how many times in the main
wants.
show, an 8-year-old movie. Yeah. Imagine what it's going to be for something that's relevant and new and ongoing and has a way larger fan base.
That has been growing a massive fan base over the past 40 years.
Yeah.
So
that's
something. Well, but Wade does bring up a good point that it is the first step into the water park game. And again, they're marketing it as a third gate and as a water theme park, which my argument against that whole water theme park is I don't think it's a full-fledged theme park yet.
Why? Because it only has one theme?
Well, no. No. The theming around it is fantastic. Yeah. It's amazing. All of the rides look really, really fun. The park seems like it's based around, or they went for a fun atmosphere throughout the park.
They definitely did, yeah.
Very whimsical throughout.
Yes.
But there are no sit-down restaurants. There are no advanced dining reservations.
That is true.
There's no kind of nighttime spectacular thing, which, I mean, you could argue that the volcano itself and a water park at night probably sucks.
Yeah, I can't.
At sundown,
And I don't imagine they
Not
want
too
you in
fun.
the pool after
Yeah.
dark either, because
Yeah.
I don't know
Not
how they
too
lifeguard
safe.
that. Yeah.
but I mean, there's no like shows or anything. It's mostly just attractions and water. There's no kind of
So theme maybe being the wrong word in this case, and amusement being.
amusement park. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
You could do that. Theme park, you could argue, because there aren't really major shows. There are entertainers. There are Polynesian entertainers. Lots of those walking around. You get some interaction with that, but beyond that, I haven't seen any show. I haven't seen any. There are no advanced dining reservations. Tapu Tapu is buggy.
Yeah. Which
There are issues with
it'll
it.
be that's inevitable with
Yes.
any new system like
Yes.
that. But yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think it's a water theme park yet.
I would agree with that. I think amusement maybe is a better term. And I think unlike the other ones, there's no loss
No.
if it doesn't work. If it's not a theme, if it's just a water park, it's just a water park.
It doesn't appeal to everybody or the masses like a theme park appeals to the masses
Yeah.
because it is a water park
Where-
at its core.
And the other two, you have lost something, even if it's only Camp Mini Mickey
Yeah.
in the one case, but you have lost something to put that new thing in place.
I mean, technically you lost Wet and Wild, which they did do a tribute to that.
Did they?
They named one of the rides. I don't know what language they're writing it all in. Polynesian? Is
Polynesian.
there-
One of the Polynesian ones. 'Cause
Yeah.
Hawaii has their own, and yeah.
Yeah. So, but they named one of the rides Wet and Wild in Polynesian.
Oh, okay.
So,
Nice.
little tidbit
Yeah.
for you. Little factoid.
Yeah, I mean, you
already.
kind of lost something, but you really kind of didn't, and Wet and Wild probably would have died on its own anyways at some point, or whatever, because
It was still pretty popular,
Was
but
it?
it wasn't like the most popular. I don't think it ever had 350-minute queueless waits for a water coaster.
Yeah.
One, it didn't have a water coaster, but
Yeah.
which that water coaster? Did you watch an on-ride of that?
Mhm.
It's pretty long.
It is.
It's got a lot of solid airtime hills.
Well, that was one thing I forgot to say about Guardians that a few people were complaining about. It's kind of a short ride,
Yes.
which
yeah, that's
Tower
true.
of Terror was too, but I mean,
But Tower of Terror felt like a much longer ride because of the build-up, and this
Yes.
one just
yes.
goes
I agree.
right away. So
Back to her, yeah. I agree, yeah. I don't feel like there's the loss. I don't know, I keep coming back to that word, but I just feel like there's not the, like,
there's not the devastation factor of, I used to really like going over it, because I'm sure
Worst
someone
case
liked
is
going
now-
over Mini Mickey, Camp Mini Mickey.
yeah. Worst case is now Universal has their own water park, which makes it even more of a full resort at Universal Orlando.
Yeah, a full water park connected to its resorts with a bus system, a transportation system
Yeah.
to the water park directly from its resorts, which I don't think it had to Wet and Wild.
No,
I
I think
think
they
Wet n
literally
Wild
just
had
like
its
Wet n
own
Wild
road.
was its own thing, and they owned it. They just didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
Yeah.
They knew they were going to do this,
Yeah, probably.
which is probably why they bought Wet n Wild, because they're like, we don't want a competing water park in the same area,
Yeah, probably. Back in the day.
and to buy more land or whatever else too.
Yeah, just to have it for future expansion.
They didn't learn from Disneyland's mistakes like like Walt did for Disney World.
Yeah.
Like, buy as much land as you can get and be,
And just be set for umpteen years.
yeah. Because even at some point, I'm sure Disney World might run into.
It'll be a
Something.
long time.
Yeah.
They're really keeping their parks tightly
Built.
I don't want to say compact, but yeah, built. Tightly built.
Yeah, they're not like, oh, we'll just put this all the way over there.
Yeah. Well, they kind of did that with Animal Kingdom.
Well, Animal
but
Kingdom kind of has to because of animals, but
it's so big.
yeah.
But anyways,
I think
back to
Wade
this.
makes some really good points. I don't, like I said, I didn't fully disagree with anything you said on Guardians,
No.
and
And
I don't think
I
you
don't-
disagree with anything I said on Pandora, and I definitely don't disagree with anything Wade said on Volcano Bay. I think all three have something to prove. In a unique, I think it's unique. One of the things that kind of stuck out to me was it's unique in the theme park world where something has so much to prove.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars Land will have its own stuff to prove, but on a weird, different scale because it's Star Wars and people will expect something out of Star Wars, kind of like Harry Potter when it opened. I'm sure people expected Harry
lot of
Potter.
things, yeah. Yeah.
It's different than like, oh, Harry Potter took over all of Islands of Adventure, and so you lost all the other old attractions or whatever, and like now they have to prove that they're worthy of all that loss.
Yeah.
where Guardians took over a good attraction, and you have to prove that loss.
Pandora took over a meet and greet.
And Pandora to me is the money. You know,
Yeah.
I keep coming to the money. It's the money and the time that they could have otherwise spent on other things or even Star Wars.
It is a massive, massive investment for a lot of plants. Essentially, what it comes down to is Soarin' 2.0 and a lot of plants.
And a river, and a dark boat ride.
A lot of plants at night.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to be like that, I don't know, the Debbie Downer in the theme park industry, you could go, okay, Guardians is jumping up and down a lot.
Yeah.
Pandora is a bunch of plants. And
it's living with the land. And some more plants.
And some plants at night.
Soarin' 2.0. It's a land pavilion on steroids.
Which, actually, last time I was over at Disney World, my older brother turned to me as we were walking into Epcot, and he's like, "This is just Tomorrowland on steroids." And then he turned to me when we were walking into Animal Kingdom, and he's like, "This is just Adventureland on steroids."
It's kind of true, though.
It is.
And Hollywood Studios is just that part of California Adventure on steroids.
This is just Hollywood Land on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm okay with it. I'll take it.
Hey, I love Adventureland. I'm glad that they put that on steroids beyond any other land.
Yeah.
I'm
glad. So I'm looking forward to all three of these. I'm looking forward to visiting, presumably, at least two of them.
I'm looking forward to visiting all three because
you're probably getting a chance to do all three. But.
Seems like every time I go out to Orlando now, Universal's on my list to go, and it's part of my.
We thought about it, but it just wasn't
out there.
worth it with the kids and stuff.
Yeah, well,
they don't care yet.
No, wait until they're teenagers.
Yeah, when maybe they've discovered Mom's Harry Potter collection over there in the bookshelves.
Maybe just a little more beyond that, they've discovered roller coasters and major thrill rides.
That's true too.
And maybe they'll be big theme park fans like us.
Maybe.
Fingers crossed. That's the dream.
My dad's a nerd. He sits down in the basement.
My dad and my cousin,
they're nerds. Sit down in the basement for an hour every week.
Minimum. I do want to say something else with Tapu Tapu, though. It looks incredible.
I'm actually impressed, even though it has some bugs, which I think, again...
Some minor bugs that they can fix
Magic
out.
Bands had bugs when they came out.
Yes. The one thing that I do kind of wish they implemented initially, and I do hope they figure out how to do this, is keep your ride reservations.
It's weird to me that you turn your thing in and it's not to your name. You know, it's not. It doesn't say, "Hey, this is Court's Tapu Tapu." And even if you come back and get a different Tapu Tapu,
like we still have your stuff on file.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
Yeah,
to me.
That to me, I mean, that's maybe the app. You know, it needs to have an app companion, kind of like My Magic Plus does.
Yeah,
where it's like clearly you got to kind of have a system that keeps track of things. Aside from just the wristband, clearly they put too much power in the wristband, or too much, I don't know, emphasis on the wristband.
It's just too expensive to give to every visitor, kind of like what My Magic Plus does.
Well, I imagine, especially because it has a screen in it.
Yes, no, it is.
We're talking probably a minimum of $50 device each time.
Ish, yeah.
I was just thinking like a Pebble right now is about $50. You buy a Pebble,
but it's not like that kind of screen. It's more like the old school like Game & Watch screens.
LCD.
Yeah. So it's probably, but it has to be completely waterproof. It has to have a battery long enough to last the whole day.
So $50 to $100 per device.
It has to have at least some kind of RFID in it, some kind of.
But the tap to play thing looks awesome.
The tap to play looks incredible.
The pay
tap to pay
looks awesome.
I mean, it's just like My Magic Plus at that point,
or Apple Pay or all the other, or the credit cards that have the thing where you just tap it,
Android Pay and all that stuff. But the tap to play, the tap to pay, the tap to snap,
that was pretty cool too. Yeah,
that was
sweet.
I
forgot about that one. Yeah,
and even just the whole you can put everything in a locker. You don't need anything because that is the worst part of the water park.
That is true. And what do you do with it? Yeah,
you're like, I don't want to leave my phone.
At minimum, even if you just left everything in the car and locked it, which is a risk of its own.
Yeah,
you have to have something with your car key.
So how are you gonna do that?
Yeah,
or another RFID wristband?
Yeah,
do an RFID car entrance,
which is pretty much what my
kind of is now.
Do anyways, but yeah.
But Tapu Tapu looks Absolutely incredible. It is a brilliant theory. It's a brilliant theory system. Theorized
Yes, I
system.
mean we talked a lot about it about how queueless queues are kind of a unicorn.
yeah.
They're really.
But this is the way to do queueless queues right now. I can't think of a better system off the top of my head. I can't think of a better system if I sat down and thought of it for probably 20 hours straight.
Yeah.
A little display on your wrist, a light watch that you're going to wear.
Yeah. That does other things. It's not just for queues. Yeah.
You don't have to have your phone on you. You don't have to, interact with it beyond just tapping
look for lights or other. Yeah.
No, you just tap it. It says, okay, on the display that you tapped, it'll say, okay, you're now in line. Your wait is going to be like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then on your tapu on the display, it says Krakatoa or whatever ride you chose. Krakatoa, current wait, or you will be riding in 10 minutes, in 9 minutes, in 8 minutes, in 7, in such and such.
No, it's a really cool system. Yeah.
Another thing I will say, though, is you are only limited to one queue.
Ooh,
in the current system.
That stinks with the 3-hour waits or whatever.
Yeah, which
I'd rather see them go around and go boop, 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 and they're like, you're in line for everything, and here's when you can go, which we kind of talked about.
But at the same time, everybody's going to do that, and then everybody's going to, because I think all of the tapu like queues are, it's kind of like the fast pass system where you go to the attraction, you tap, and then you come back. But there are multiple like tapping points. I don't know what they're calling them.
Tapus.
Taputikis?
Taputikis? I don't know. Yeah. So you can you don't have to go to the attraction?
Well, I think you have to go to like the general area.
Okay.
Because, I don't know. But there's like 4 taputikis. I'm going to call them that. There's 4 taputikis for like each attraction.
Except
so it's not. Yeah. So you just.
So ruled.
I
suck at the motion.
But this is the way to do queueless queues. And while you can only reserve one queue at a time, I think there's still a standby queue for most attractions. So
which we talked about how a queueless queue,
you need that.
You need it. Yeah.
You need it. Which if there is still a standby queue, which one makes perfect sense to me?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't there be?
Yeah. Why wouldn't there be?
They didn't advertise it at all, though.
Well,
or
because it's
minimally,
it's standard.
Yeah,
that's
they're not going to say like, oh, you can also wait in line.
You can also wait in line. Why? I thought you were.
You have the option to not wait in line and sit in the wave pool for 3 hours, or you can wait in line for the 10 minutes that it's actually going to be.
Yeah.
So I mean that might be a little hack for you if
Check
you go
the standby. Yeah.
check standby, check the queueless one. So, but I think
they're gonna have to work some bugs out. But
yeah, there are a few bugs that are going to be need to be kinked out, but from what I heard, Pandora, while there were a lot of people, a lot of visitors, it went smoothly.
Good.
It went off without a hitch. Same thing for Guardians. I don't think it was down at all today. If it was, it wasn't for very long, which is very surprising.
Yeah, because even Tower, yeah.
I don't think Flight of Passage or Na'vi River Journey either of them were down, and it sounded like while Flight of Passage had a 250-minute wait, about 10 minutes of it was outside. Then you were inside and in AC and everything. That just goes to show how much forethought they had of, okay, opening day is going to be ridiculous, so here we go.
Well, hopefully they do the same for Star Wars.
We'll have this queue able to hold 6 hours of people.
Yeah. Crazy.
Majority of which is inside. But I mean, first off, congratulations to all 3 parks.
Yeah.
To all 3 resorts. Huge openings. Really awesome. Super stoked to check them all out.
Yeah.
Can't wait. But again, just a quick review. I think Guardians of the Galaxy has the most to prove.
I think Pandora's got the most to prove, and Wade thinks
Wade thinks Volcano Bay. So they all have something to prove.
I think we all also agree that each one does have something to prove. That there's not one that's like, it's good to go.
Yeah. No. So here we go. We'll see if they hold up to their standards, and we'll see if they prove what they need to prove.
Nice.
But that's all that I have.
All right. Well, let's just
End it right there.
have a good week.
See you next time.